What is up, guys? It is Tool Guy Y here, and today I'll be walking you through a 2000 Toyota Celica valve cover gasket replacement. These are some of the things that you are required to have in order to complete this job. Please take a minute and pause, read everything thoroughly, and make sure that you have it before starting. The first thing we'll do is we'll take off the cover. Remove 4 10mm fasteners, pull cover off, and put to the side. Next, we'll label all our coil packs to its corresponding cylinder. Cylinder 1 starting at the passenger side and cylinder 4 starting at the driver's side. Once everything's labeled, start unplugging your coil packs. Over time, Toyota coil pack connectors tend to get stuck and brittle from the engine's heat, so just take your time when removing the connectors. Once those connectors are unplugged, remove the 4 10mm bolts that are holding down the coil packs and put that to the side. Remove coil packs and put on the side in numerical order. Next, remove the 2 10mm fasteners holding down the wire harness going to the coil packs. Once removed, push the wire harness to the side and out of your way. Next, we'll take our pliers to remove both breather hoses on the right hand side of the valve cover. In this video, I used a hose clamp plier and a channel lock plier to remove both clamps. Once those clamps are off, I used my trim panel tool to remove the hoses from the valve cover. Next, we're going to be removing the Egr hose. The Egr is located in the front left of the valve cover and is held down by 2 10mm nuts. Once those 2 nuts are removed, we're going to use our E6 to remove the studs that the nuts were on. Be careful when removing the studs because the studs are the ones that hold the Egr gasket in place. Once everything's removed, we can start removing the valve cover gasket bolts. These are the valve cover gasket bolts. You need to remove them in order to pull off the valve cover. Right now I am using a 3/8 gun to remove all the valve cover gasket bolts. Don't be afraid to move things to the side like the wire harness to gain better access to the bolts. Once all the valve cover bolts are removed, use a pry bar and pry up firmly on the right side of the valve cover to break the seal. Once the valve cover is pried up, remove the valve cover carefully, making sure that nothing is in the way. Once the valve cover is removed, clean thoroughly with a can of brake clean and remove old valve cover gasket and replace with new valve cover gasket. Remove the spark plug tubes by prying up on the tabs, then prying up on the spark plug tubes, removing it, then replacing it. When installing the new spark plug tube seals, make sure they go in the same way they came out. Once those are in, make sure you hammer down those tabs, ensuring that it's locked in place. Next, we'll take our razor blade and start removing all the old RTV located where the timing cover meets the engine block. After scraping everything off, we'll finish everything by cleaning off with a wire brush, ensuring that all the RTV is completely gone. Once all the old RTV is gone, spray a microfiber towel with brake clean and wipe down all the edges where the valve cover meets the block thoroughly. Add 2 nice beads of RTV where the timing cover meets the engine block. After you added the RTV in those 2 places, reinstall the valve cover with the new gasket. Be careful when installing the valve cover, ensuring you don't pinch any wires or the new gasket itself. Once the valve cover is on, we can start putting everything back together. Start with the Egr studs. It'll be easier to line up the holes and reduce the risk of cross-threading. Do not forget the gasket. Once the Egr studs are in, we can start dropping in the valve cover bolts. I recommend screwing them in a couple turns by hand before finishing off with an impact gun or an electric ratchet. Once all the bolts are threaded in by hand, you can finish off with an electric gun or ratchet to tighten them all down. Reinstall the 2 10mm nuts on the Egr studs and tighten them down. It's always a good idea to double check your work when doing a valve cover gasket. I personally like to take a 10mm socket on a 1/4" wrench and just double check to make sure everything is tight. Reinstall and secure wire harness with the 2 10mm bolts that you removed earlier. Reinstall each coil pack back to its corresponding cylinder, plug them in, and tighten them down using the 4 10mm bolts we removed earlier. Lastly, reinstall the breather hoses on the right side of the valve cover. I personally like to use new hose clamps when reinstalling hoses. If you don't have new hose clamps, remember to put the old hose clamps back the same position as removing. Congratulations, guys, you now know how to do a valve cover gasket on a 2000 Toyota Celica. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys found this video informative. Please like and subscribe to my channel for more how-to and tool review videos.